Please welcome Executive Chairman, RSAC, Hugh Thompson.
Hello. Welcome everybody to RSAC Conference 2025. How are you feeling? Ladies and gentlemen, can we get one more round of applause for Common? In these times, that's the message that we need. Community. Community. It's what makes us strong in cybersecurity. It's community. You know, I feel so privileged to be a part of this community. And one of the things that just continues to blow me away is how important cybersecurity continues to be in society and how much it's recognized as important in society. This very day, for example, at 6:30 a.m., the New York Stock Exchange flew the opening bell over to RSAC. And this morning at 6:30 a.m., the bell was rung right here at RSAC to open the New York Stock Exchange for trading. Now, if that isn't a sign of how important at least the business world sees cybersecurity, I can't imagine what is. They very, very rarely do that. After that happened, so it was very early morning, after that happened, we had our Innovation Sandbox competition. How many people were at Innovation Sandbox? Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. We did record it, so if you're not there, you can still see it. It was such an amazing display. Companies that are on the bleeding edge of cybersecurity, that are looking to solve some of the problems that we're facing today, but also anticipating the problems of tomorrow. It was actually quite inspiring to see the range of companies and entrepreneurs that participated in it. I think you'd be very uplifted by it. And that's just the beginning of day one of RSAC Conference 2025. I can't wait to show you what we have in store for you this week. It is going to be our best conference ever. And I'm so appreciative. I can't thank you enough for being here and sharing that with us. And I can tell you, there has never been a more important time for us to come together as a community. So much is changing. The way that attackers operate is changing dramatically. The pervasive use of AI, the rapid adoption of AI, the security implications of that, massive changes to what we do and how we might do it. What we're also seeing is an incredible amount of uncertainty in what regulation may look like in the US, in Europe, in Asia. And I have a question for you, which is, how do we operate with purpose in a time of great uncertainty? How do we defend in the very heart of change? This is the kind of question that we are going to tackle together as a community here at RSA Conference. This is the 34th year of our flagship event. And this year, we have 44,000 people. 44,000 people, a record number of people, the most people we've ever had here at RSA Conference from more than 140 countries. It's incredible to see. And why is it that we convene in this way? We convene because we need each other. We convene because we need to learn from each other. We convene because we need to calibrate with each other. During this week, I would invite you to take every opportunity that you can to meet somebody new, to just talk to them. Community has never been more important in our field as it is right now today. And I'm always blown away by how open this community is to share. So every year, we issue a call for speakers out to the community. And this year, you, the community, responded in record numbers. We had 2,800 submissions from around the world. Those submissions then got adjudicated by the community in the form of our unbelievable program committee. Where's my program committee at? I know you're out there. Okay, raise a hand. Okay. Thank you. You have put together what I would argue is the best educational program that we've ever had at RSA Conference. We also issued a call out for innovators, and you again responded in record numbers. In fact, it was a 40% increase in the number of submissions to Innovation Sandbox. More than 200 new startups that are thinking about new ways to solve old problems and new ways to solve new problems that we're creating to ourselves with the adoption of new technology. It is incredible to see the power that can happen when you bring this group of human beings together. Now, you take those numbers for a second, and they're a little bit kind of mind-blowing. Like 44,000 people, that's a lot of people, right? You may have noticed as you walked into this room. It's a lot of people to navigate. We have more than 400 educational sessions. We have a gigantic expo floor. I don't know if you've gone there yet, pretty big. How do you navigate something of this size? How do you get the most out of your week? So I would like to share with you a personal story to perhaps give you some guidance on how to think about getting the most out of RSA Conference Week. Come with me as I invite you in to the intriguing, captivating, controversial, and actually quite emotional world of statisticians. It is very intriguing. So I myself am a proud statistician. And you know, we're a little more interesting than you may think, or that the name would imply. And statisticians come kind of in two flavors. The first is called frequentist statisticians. These folks really like to count stuff, all kinds of stuff, all the time. The way that they operate, or at least their frame of mind, is let me look at something over a very, very long period of time and count the occurrences of an event, the frequency of an event, and then I'm going to take this data from the past and predict the likelihood of an event happening in the future. Let me give you a very practical example. 2 weeks ago, me and my 5 young kids embarked on an experiment that was probably very ill-advised, very high caloric, and we asked a very simple question, a question I'm sure many of you have asked yourselves. We got a bag of M&Ms. We opened the bag of M&Ms and we asked a natural question. What are the chances that when I pull a candy out of this bag of M&Ms, is it going to be green? What are the chances? Okay? Now, the way that a frequentist would approach this is they would examine hundreds, maybe thousands of bags of M&Ms. They would count the number of green M&Ms that are in there, and then they would come up with some kind of hypothesis. They would probably be on some serious medication, likely, after consuming such M&Ms, but they would then have some degree of certainty of what the chances are that the first M&M you pull out of a pack would be green. And in fact, the answer is around 16%, as we discovered. A Bayesian statistician thinks very differently about the world. For them, they're a little more flexible. Instead, they ask the question, well, what if I take a couple of bags of M&Ms, I'm going to count the green ones, but then I'm going to go and I'm going to ask some people. And this is a great conversation starter, by the way, right? Like if you're wondering, how do I meet new people here at RSAC, use the following line. Hey, do you remember the last time you opened a pack of M&Ms? What was the color of the M&M that you first pulled out? And while you may not get a direct answer, it's going to provoke some interesting discussion. I guarantee it. I tried it earlier this week to mixed success. But they're going to interact with others, seek input, and then if somebody presents them now with this dilemma, I'm opening a new bag, what's the chances I pull out a green M&M? They're going to ask this person, can I get a couple other bags of M&Ms that came from the same shipment? Because they're open to the idea that the fundamental system behind it may have changed. Maybe the manufacturing process changed, for example. Bayesians are always open to the idea that their original hypothesis could be wrong. And they can't wait to get their hands on new information or data, and they're willing to accept change constantly. Something else I've noticed over the years, especially attending many statistics conferences, I was a professor for many years at Columbia University. They're as exciting as you would imagine those conferences are. And what I noticed is some key behavioral differences between these two groups. First, Bayesians are way more fun at parties. Let me just tell you, 100%. And it's because they tend to be extroverts. They stay until last call. They want to talk to as many people as possible, and they're open to changing their opinions based on the information they collect. And in fact, often when they talk to somebody, they get changed in the exchange, and the other person gets changed too. And I think that this is a fascinating mindset to approach RSA Conference. Be open to change. We are in a field that is so dynamic. It's changing all the time. The attackers are changing. The fundamental technologies we use are changing. The regulations are changing. We need to be in a mindset of constantly adapting and being open to change. I'll give you another example. It's a difference between the two. Let's say you approached the frequentist and you told them that you had a job opportunity for them in Antarctica. And the job was you're going to hang out with a bunch of geologists, and they are going to take core samples of the Earth. And they're going to do this thousands and thousands of times. Thousands and thousands of times. And you are going to count minerals in those core samples thousands and thousands and thousands of times in Antarctica. Now, the way that the frequentist is likely to respond is probably get a little emotional, maybe a little choked up, have a wistful look, possibly, maybe a tear kind of forming in the corner of their eye, and they're going to say, that would be acceptable. Please sign me up for that. The Bayesian, however, is going to say, dude, no way. That sounds horrible. I'm not doing that. As you think about this conference, approach it as a Bayesian would. Look for every opportunity to interact with somebody else. There are so many people from so many subdisciplines of cyber from every vertical across the world. The opportunity is immense. In fact, let me show you. Can I ask, for those of you that this is your first time at RSAC, if you're able to, please stand. First time, it's okay. Wow, that's incredible, actually. Amazing. Welcome, we're so happy you're here. Please take your seats. Now, let me ask those of you that have been to at least 5 RSA conferences, please stand. You've been to 5, okay? All right, okay. Well, this should be applauded. Amazing, okay? Please remain standing. No, don't. Okay, please remain standing. If you have been to RSA conference at least 15 times, please remain standing. Everybody else take your seats. Wow, look at that. Incredible. Look at the opportunity that you have. Please take your seats. Yeah, I'm not going to make you stand for the rest of the time. Look at the opportunity that you have. For the veterans here, there are so many new people you don't know. People who have new ideas, new questions for you. And for those first-timers, look at the wealth of knowledge that's at your fingertips this week. I want you to take advantage of that. Now, we've been on a bit of an evolutionary journey here at RSAC. And one of the things that's bothered me for many years, and I've been the program committee chair here for almost 20 years, is we have such a great time during the 1 week out of a year where we're together. But what happens to those same needs of community that you have throughout the year? And so, for the past 18 months, we've talked to hundreds of you and asked you the question, how can we best help? And what you'll see this week throughout the conference, and you'll see signs and you'll see QR codes and all kinds of things, we have developed, based on what you told us, a first version of a community platform. Something that we think can help you connect with others and learn all throughout the year. I can't wait for you to try it. I can't wait for you to tell us what you think and help us make it better. And what I will say is that we've also spent a lot of time looking at the vast amount of information that we see coming into this event through our call for speakers. And in fact, we've hired a team of data scientists to be both a mirror and a lens to you of what's on your mind. And I'd like to bring that up here for just a minute. We developed a tool where you can see the relative importance, according to you, what is on your mind in 2025. It's a tool that we call Cybersecurity Atlas. Each one of you will have access to this during the week. And what it's telling us, it's very interesting to look at some of the key trends now, but also some of the key trends that we believe will happen in the future. So let's take a look at the most impactful trend in 2025, which is AI. So first, let's look at what the impact of AI looked like in 2021. Each of these circles represents a subdomain of cyber, and the color represents the area of cyber that it's focused on. Blue, as you can probably tell from that explanation, is AI. This is what it looked like in 2021. Pre-LLMs. This was all machine learning country right around here. 2021. Now let's fast forward to 2025. It's everywhere. It's spreading into so many different aspects of cyber. In fact, you're going to hear it in almost every talk that you go to during this week. And I wanted to show you some specific examples of a couple of topics that are popping out for this year. The number one term by far was agentic AI. Probably heard that 30 times since you've walked in the doors at RSAC. AI agents and autonomous systems security. There are big open questions on this topic. Questions around identity, questions around governance, questions around traceability. You're going to see a wealth of sessions during this week on this topic. I'd urge you to go to at least one. A second is the application of AI to traditional security domains. And the one that we've seen as the most prevalent was AI applied to the Security Operations Center, so AI in the SOC. But then we wanted to go a step further, and we looked back over the data that's come into RSAC over the last 10 years. We went back 5 years ago and asked, could we predict the biggest trends 1 year from then? And then we went back 6 years ago and said, could we predict this trend, the major trend, 1 year from then? And what we found was pretty interesting. So let's take a look at what we believe will happen in 2026. We see a couple of items that pop right up to the top. And for those of us that have been in security for a long time, the thing that you thirst for the most is how do you anticipate the future? So let's look at a couple of examples that we believe will be big in 2026. One of them is we believe that application security will flip to primarily AI-driven application security. This is based on the data that you're telling us. The second piece that we think is a big issue today, but we think is even going to be bigger in 2026, is adversarial attacks, practical adversarial attacks on LLMs. I'd encourage you to play with this tool throughout the week. It'll be available to you today. Now I have one parting note to leave you with, and it's a challenge. And the challenge is, during this week, I want you to be just a little bit Bayesian. Be open in your thinking. Talk to people. Understand that there is something you can learn from everybody. There is not one single person that you can't learn something new from. Maybe it's just the questions that they ask you. Approach them, talk to them, engage with them. And what happens is very interesting. There is a byproduct of trust, a bond that gets created between two people when both parties are open. Those bonds strengthen us all. They make us stronger as a community. I ask you as you approach this week, what can you give to this community, and how can you learn more from the incredibly dedicated folks that are in this room? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of RSA Conference, and I can't wait to see you throughout the week. Thanks very much.